In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look at the weather happening around the nation. Obviously on screen here, we have the current conditions, which we're going to dive into. We're also going to go into some overall storminess. We do have a couple of cold fronts coming through that will obviously bring cooler air in the way of Arctic blasts. And we talked about this yesterday. You guys really like this quote, but you got to remember the Arctic is a place, not a temperature. So when we say Arctic blast, that doesn't mean that it's going to be 20 degrees. It means that there is a blast of air coming from the Arctic, okay, way up in the north. So keep that in mind. But that is going to blast down and bring some pretty intense cold fronts that are going to feature a lot of storminess along them. There's obviously many other storms happening over the next couple of weeks, so we're going to talk about those as well. So let's just dive into things. And we do have some interesting weather happening around the country. Like I said, we do have a major storm system. I don't know why this is yellow. Let me switch this to black, but well, actually I should switch it to white for this part of it. But we do see also here in the east, our coastal system, which has brought major impacts up and down the East Coast, has fizzled out for the most part over the Northeast. This has been less of an impactful system up there than anticipated, at least. I know that's obviously a generalized statement, but up there in the Northeast, it has not been as high precipitation as originally anticipated. And believe me, I live in Virginia. The wind with this system was quite severe. And down here, the coastal flooding was a big concern. But a lot of the rainfall has, thankfully, for most, been a little bit less intense than anticipated, because this wasn't a healthy amount of rain. This was a beyond healthy amount of rain. And too much of a good thing can become a bad thing really easily. And that would be the case with a major coastal system, especially in an area that has been drier. The ground doesn't want to accept that moisture as easily, and it tends to make flooding concerns a little bit more intense. In the middle of the nation, we do have some showers and thunderstorms ongoing from the Four Corner states into the plains as well here, which is very interesting. I do want to dive into the Northeast, and you can see it's more showery conditions than anything. But believe me, like I said, these areas right here in particular are probably quite windy this evening. Let us know if you live in this area, what the conditions are like. But it seems like off and on rainfall and really windy conditions. Let's go ahead and move into our model guidance, though, and take a look at what it's upcoming. And as we just take a look at this, you can see everything's in a pretty similar position to what I just showed you. As time goes on, especially as we move towards tomorrow in particular, is what we're going to look at here. The system out there in the east is all but died out. I mean, we really see this one has gone ahead and fizzled away almost entirely by that point. We do see this more major low over the southwest continuing to really bring some intense impacts as far as rainfall for California, Nevada, and also snowfall for those Sierra Nevada mountains. We also see some snowfall showers happening across the northern Rockies, and then we still are dealing with quite showery and thunderstorm type conditions for the Four Corner states, and now the northern plains and upper Midwest by that point. Let's keep going towards Wednesday here on October 15th. And what we see is a lot of storminess from these Four Corner states into the northern plains and upper Midwest. We do have a bit of a low forming over eastern Colorado. You could probably call this the early development of a warm front there off to the east, the northeast of this system. So you can expect some pooling of warm air across the south central states. Still looking at the jet stream, there is a bit of a trough over the west, again, ridge over the central, and then a very soft trough over the east. Here's what I'd call it, with slightly cooler conditions here in the east. It's actually quite pleasant. Moving towards Thursday here on the 16th of October, just a few days from now, we do see a 998 there to the east in eastern Colorado, and a 1005 millibar low pressure center there over the north central states. Looking at the entirety of all of these storm systems kind of put together, we do see lots of heavy rainfall for some of these areas, and we also see quite a bit of snowfall occurring there over the Rocky Mountain range. Moving forward towards Friday here on the 17th, we do see this low forming over south central Canada with plenty of precipitation here in the north central of the United States, but really a quieter day for the United States overall here for Friday on the 17th. Looking towards Saturday here on the 18th, we do see that there is a ridge over the west, a bit of a trough here in the central states, and then a ridge along the east coast. So warmer air now for the eastern seaboard is occurring, and also for the west. You can anticipate that this, again, Arctic blast that's kind of being funneled in the middle here, way up there in northern Canada is where this air is coming from. And this will be on the move down towards the eastern states. We do have a low just to the north of where I'm drawing it here. And there is a cold front here underneath, and that's kind of helping to pull everything in eastward. Another low forms along that cold front as we're moving towards Sunday on the 19th. So we see this low now just to the east of Michigan there. Cold front underneath, warm front out ahead of things. So again, you do get this little bit of a warm push up the east coast, but that cooler air is moving in a hurry. This is a very quick moving pattern overall with the jet stream patterns and troughs and ridges. So we see this ridge that was over the west coast is already on the move eastward as well. And we have a trough for the west coast that's moving in really, really quickly. So you've got basically two troughs and two ridges over the United States, which is usually indicative of a faster moving pattern as well, which we do surely see here by this point. So again, everything's kind of pointing towards quicker moving, shorter lived temperature patterns here overall. Now, quite clearly, this storm system over a lot of the eastern states, some of the central states as well, is really, really impactful. So we're seeing lots of rainfall, maybe even thunderstorms, or perhaps even severe weather in the southern quadrant of this storm along that cold front. Wouldn't surprise me one bit either. So definitely something to keep in mind. This is a little bit far out, keep in mind. But as we move towards Monday the 20th, this is a quick moving cold front, kind of going along with the theme here. This cold front basically from Sunday afternoon. Here is 6 hours later, 6 hours after that, and 6 hours after that, it's already offshore. And by the time we're reaching Monday afternoon, most of this system is offshore unless you're in New England, where there is still some in eastern New England, causing pretty major impacts by Monday the 20th. We're seeing heavier rainfall. It is quick moving. You can anticipate some windy conditions because of that speed. That could be a possibility as well. We do see quite a bit of storminess over the west, both in the forms of rainfall and snowfall, depending on your elevation. Let's keep moving through this. I'm going to take this straight towards Tuesday on the 21st, and we do see another quite major low forming over eastern Colorado. There is not a lot of precipitation in it, but it does look like a warm front is kind of forming here off to the north of that low, and a really, really intense cold front that's getting going. So we get this kind of Arctic blast into the west here. And what we end up seeing is heavy, heavy Rocky Mountain snowfall for states like Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. All of these states, even Nevada, seeing some snowfall showers as a result of this overall very dynamic storm. Moving towards Wednesday here, we see this storm generally moves to the northeast here to the Dakotas. 985 is a very, very intense system here over these areas. We also see snowfall continuing for some of the northern plains and northern Rockies there. I want to keep going towards Thursday. We see a lot of this energy transfers there to the north of the Great Lakes. We get a lot of precipitation building as well along some of the deeper south, like Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, and even West Virginia there, seeing some impacts. Moving towards Friday the 24th, we do see again, now all of a sudden, more of a ridge in the west, trough in the east pattern. It's a very soft trough. So again, this would be an example of more slightly below average temperatures. Really, not severely below average temperatures by any means. The south central states is seeing plenty of thunderstorms and even some Colorado and New Mexico snowfall here. So some storminess there, and also some showery conditions up there in the northeast corner of the nation. Looking towards Saturday on October 25th, we have something building here over the central states. We could get a low trying to form in here somewhere. We end up seeing showers and thunderstorms off to the east of it. And again, some Rocky Mountain snowfall for Utah, Wyoming, and Colorado right behind it for that weekend. This is going to be actually the weekend after this upcoming one. Looking towards Sunday here on the 26th, we see another one of these Arctic blasts trying to move in. It's moving in very far to the east because we have a large ridge over the west. Your jet stream is doing about like this. We call this a positive P&A when you have a strong warm air pattern out west, and this deflects those Arctic blasts to head eastward. And that's what we saw a lot of last fall and last winter, and we're seeing it here again. There is a low way up to the north here, close to the Hudson Bay. And that system has a cold front, which you can actually see on screen here, that's helping to kind of pull everything in. Monday the 27th, we see this low is really getting going closer to the Great Lakes here, so lots of storminess and lots of colder air. In this case, with this one, I think that we're looking at a lot more of severe cooler air, perhaps, as we're heading into late October. And then as we move towards our final frame here for October 28th, this low is just to the north of New England. Again, very cold air up here. Some snowfall, some rainfall mixed in depending on your elevation. This is a rather intense look, especially looking out west. I mean, look at all this warmth built in out here. This is just going to keep deflecting all of the cooler air into the east if we get anything like this really setting up. Looking towards the overall total precipitation, we have seen another decrease for the west. We continue to see pretty high amounts here across a lot of your northern states, like the north central and northeast, and also for the south central states, and they really need it. So this is a good, very promising sign here. Even the northeast seeing high amounts of precipitation here. This is all great news. The biggest area that is seeing a huge lack of precipitation would be the southeast, where there is almost nothing here for parts of Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida, especially northern Florida. This is alarming. Looking at the overall anomalies, again, it reflects this. So out west, looking more above average and below average, depending on where you're at. Mostly the southwest is above average. Northwest is below average. North central states are above average. Some of your central plains and some of the Midwest are below average here. But we do have an above average stretch for areas of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas there. And then we can see for a lot of your mid-Atlantic down through the deep south and southeast, all really far below average. So that's really bad news there. Total snowfall, obviously huge amounts out here for the Cascades, the Sierra Nevada, the Rockies here. And we even see a little bit happening over some of your north central states, some flurries flying also for the mountainous northeast, and then even for the mountains of West Virginia, which are very high elevation. And this is not as crazy as it seems. So perhaps flurries to even a dusting happening in some of these central and eastern locations. Really cool stuff, and definitely showing how close to the late fall and winter we're really getting. The temperature pattern, according to your European model here, is going to be overall warm in the east for a little bit. We do get this backdoor cold front, and I've talked about this daily, but it's really just coming from the back door, the east. We typically expect to get these from kind of like the northwest, but this one's coming from the northeast. We call these backdoor cold fronts. Watch it come in. It's going to mostly impact the East Coast with a few days of cooler temperatures starting Wednesday for the Northeast, Thursday the 16th here for a lot more of the East Coast, and lasting till Friday the 17th here, maybe even Saturday the 18th before it finally comes to an end. Right as it does, though, we get this more minor cool down that we were talking about earlier. It is an Arctic blast. It is blasting down from the Arctic. It's just much less intense this time around, and that arrives around the 19th, 20th time frame and lasts for a few days itself. Then we get another cool down moving in right around the 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. And we even get another one much more major this time around for the 26th, 27th, 28th. So when I say frequent cooldowns, that's what I mean. 4 to 5 cooldowns maybe on this model run over the next 2 weeks. That is certainly fast moving, but for sure, that is a lot of cold air moving in on multiple different occasions. The GFS model here, we see again that backdoor cold front warms up, cools down again, perhaps. Maybe only 3 cooldowns on this one. A little bit less of an intense look, but look at where we end off. Hugely above average temperatures out west. That is going to help to encourage maybe some cooler air to move back into the east once again around this time frame. So we're watching for a potential pattern flip at some point here during the second half of October for sure. We're getting those indications from the models, and we're going to continue to track it with you guys. So be sure to subscribe because we upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.